For over a decade now, many developers have tried to replicate From Software's Soulsborne formula after the massive success of Demon's Souls in 2009. Some good games came from some of these developers, many other games were mediocre at best. Lies of P is a Soulsborne game that wears its inspiration on its sleeve, with some innovation that separated from the competition. I'm Dan Opus, and in this review on Lies of P, I will be playing on Steam Deck, so y'all will know how well it runs before buying it. Now let's enter the dark city of Krat. Dex play! What is this game about? Lies of P is a Soulsborne that isn't afraid to show it. Taking place in the gloom and doom city of Krat, it gives out an extremely dark vibe, set in the Victorian era that caters around the Hotel Krat. Yeah, make sure you put emphasis on that word, because this is the last safe haven in this world. In this game, you play as a mechanical puppet who at first thought is Pinocchio, but as you progress the game, you start to question it. The game doesn't take long to start. Within the first few minutes, you're introduced to combat. Although you control a puppet, the game is not stiff. It's actually more fluent than most Soulsbornes, with an emphasis on aggressiveness. The game rewards you for being tanky, which requires you to master guarding, especially perfect guarding, which is essentially the parry in this game. Thank Sekiro or Jedi Fallen Order. I personally like Jedi Fallen Order's parry the most out of these three games, but Lies of P comes in second place. It just feels great and sounds fierce. I never got the hang of it in Sekiro. Maybe I just sucked. I digress. Everything you expect from a Soulsborne game is here. You got your excess flask in the form of drugs, I guess. You know, P gotta get his fix. One thing they fixed that From Software should take note of is in this game, you get a tool that fixes your weapon mid-combat. That's right, you can restore the durability of your weapon without having to go back to a blacksmith. I, personally, prefer not having to worry about this shit, period. But this is the next best thing, and it is a genius addition to this niche genre, and one I hope will be in future Soulsborne titles. The caveat is your weapons seem to lose durability faster than any other of the Souls games I've played, in my memory. But that's because you block more in this game than in most Soulsbornes. Anyway, it isn't much of an inconvenience to pull out your grinder. Plus it looks cool to use, and you can use this same tool to add elemental damage to the weapon you're using. Speaking of weapons, this game has the craziest arsenal out of any Soulsborne I've ever played, because the level of customization is insane. Your weapon's composed of two pieces, the handle and the blade. The handle determines the scaling and move set, and the blade determines the attack output and how strong your guard is. Not to get that confused with your defense. In this game, that comes from different parts you install into your robotic body. You can take apart and recompose every weapon you find, so the combinations are plentiful. I didn't mess around with too many combinations because I'm boring, so I can't give my opinion on just how balanced this game is with the weapons. But rest assured, my weapon is pretty badass. My weapon's a fucking umbrella. I can block and attack at the same time. That's fucking OP. There's other hallmarks of Soulsborne in this game other than Estus Flask. Like bullshit. I mean bad platforming. Every Souls game has its fair share of bad platforming, and it usually sucks ass. I don't want to hear skill issue. There's some fuckery in every one of these games, and Lies of P isn't safe. I hate jumping in this game. I understand they want to go back to the Bloodborne era of Soulsborne, but I think after playing Sekiro and Elden Ring, I cannot go back to this. Why the fuck is the run button the same as the jump button? That's like making the attack button the same as the guard button. Like imagine if you had to tap R2 to attack, then hold R2 to guard. My weapon's a fucking umbrella. I can block and attack at the same time. Fuck that. Whatever. Fortunately, Lies of P isn't that bad. The jump button is actually separate from the run button, but for some reason it's L3, and you use L3 to move. So yeah, L3 is used to steer your character and jump simultaneously. Fortunately, there's very little platforming in Lies of P, so you won't be jumping too much around the environment. This game is divided by chapters. In each area is a new chapter. And within each chapter, there's multiple stargazers, which are basically your camps, your bonfires. And within each chapter, there's multiple bosses, including the major boss. The gameplay loop is pretty basic yet very satisfying. Right? The complexity lies in the combat itself, with the parrying and the grindstone and all these different factors that add to the combat, which is the meat and potatoes. Now, difficulty wise, Lies of P isn't that hard. Not compared to games like Sekiro, but it's definitely more challenging than Demon's Souls. And now is the perfect time to jump in if you haven't played this game already, because they have patched it and added some quality of life changes, such as the difficulty setting. So if the game's too tough, you can put the difficulty down. So it's actually a perfect game for entry-level players that are not used to Soulsborne games, yet it's also good enough for people who are veterans. It gives you the best of both worlds. And on top of all that, now there's DLC for the game, Overture. Let's talk about that a little bit before we wrap this video up. If you're a returning player, then you'd be happy to hear that Overture is as good as the base game, if not better. I think it is better. I like the environments better, I like the biomes better, I like the enemies better, and the bosses better. And on top of that, you get a few new weapons and a few new Legion arms, which the 2 Legion arms you get, I like better than any of the Legion arms that are in the game. And I am loving the fuck out of one of the weapons you find in the DLC too. So, we're talking about 30 bucks here. That's the one caveat. I mean, that is pretty damn expensive for DLC, but I'll tell you this right now. Length-wise, it's worth the 30 bucks. It's about half the size of the base game. So it makes sense that you're paying 30 bucks for it. But I can see why some people would be skeptical to get it, because, you know, after all, it is DLC for 30 bucks. Now, I've seen some people say it's a prequel, and it kind of is, but really isn't. The DLC allows you to go back in time, but you're still in the game, the base game. So you can go back and forth between the past and the present, right? And the cool thing is that when you go back to the past in the DLC, anything you do in the DLC can affect the present of the game. So if you go back to Krat in present time, some dialogue may be different because you did something in the past. It's really fucking cool. It's a cool detail that shows the love and care they put into this DLC. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you were fooled into thinking that the DLC is actually the base game, because the quality does not differ. It doesn't differ. It feels like the base game, quality-wise, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, Overture, if you liked Lies of P, you're gonna love Overture. And if you like Soulsborns, you're gonna love Lies of P. Alright? If you found this video helpful, or if you enjoyed it or entertained, and you liked it, a playlist with more videos like this is about to pop up on your screen. And your phone's gonna snitch on me every time I upload a new video if you subscribe. Okay? Thank you for watching Dex Play.